everybody, let's now get your seats. Thank you. All right, we're ready to start. We have a really good lecturer tonight.
You got music playing.
How do we turn the music off? Frank, how do I turn the music off? Oh. One moment, please, for technical difficulties. No more music. No more autograph. No more music. Sorry. All right, while he's doing that, I'm going to tell you about Cindy. Cindy Cassidy is the leader of Dark Skies Texas, a founding member of several Hill Country Night Sky groups, and a Hays County Master Naturalist. She has 20 years of experience as a lighting consultant and dark skies advocate. Does everybody know what the Dark Skies program is? Yeah. Okay, you'll pretty much find out tonight.
You'll learn tonight
If you don't know. We're trying to see the stars again, right? She was a key player in positioning the city of Dripping Springs to receive the prestigious International Dark Sky Community designation, the first in Texas.
Yes.
Very impressive. Good. She has assisted in numerous other international dark sky place applications in Texas. And with her tonight is Susan Fisher. Is she here?
Susan is here.
Okay.
And
Susan?
also my husband, John Cassidy, who's also an active member of Dark Sky Texas.
Y'all want to raise your hand so we know where you're at? Thank you for coming.
Susan, please go to the left, and John is to the right.
Welcome. Okay, Susan is a local resident and advocate for Dark Skies. She is interested in starting a local chapter here in Seguin. So you're welcome. Yeah, raise your hand again. Susan, raise your hand again if you're going to start this in Seguin. So if you're interested in the program, see Susan. All right. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cindy, and everybody give her a big warming.
I should have brought a hat.
You can borrow any of these.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, I put on the Navy one.
No, I want to thank y'all for having me here tonight, and thank all of the cooks. They did a great job. I appreciate that. As she said, I am Cindy Luongo Cassidy, and I'm not only lead Dark Sky Texas, I am a Hays County Master Naturalist from the class of 2005. I should have a cane for that. But, you know, yes, my husband and I went through it's been a long time since we went through the program, but we've been active. So I want to tell you a teeny bit about Dark Sky Texas first. Our mission is not to take people's lights away. In fact, our motto is better lights for better nights. So if you, sometimes this thing works and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. So our mission is up there for you to see. We want to promote the use of better outdoor lighting. We want to not only preserve the natural nighttime sky so that we can all enjoy it. It's good for our health there, you'll learn. But also have lighting that can improve safety and the well-being of all living things. Wildlife, plants, people, everything. And along the line, we end up saving energy when we use those principles. So, you guys know our dark skies are disappearing. Oh, it can be a big problem. And we notice that 80% of the world's population does not experience a natural night anymore. Wow. And they say that light pollution is growing at twice the rate of the population. Part of that, I'll share with you, is because people have been, and cities especially, have been saying, oh, let's use these energy efficient LEDs, and they put up more light than they're replacing. So we're going to talk about how to do that so that you get the light you need without causing all this light pollution. What is light pollution? You know, some people go, light pollution, there's such a thing? Yes. There are lots of components. Anybody ever experienced glare? Oh, that is that's my number one thing that bothers me. I love seeing the night sky, but boy, glare will just, stop me in my tracks. I can't see. And I know that it's worse as a lot of people age because of the way our eyes are. Another component is, so I don't have to explain glare to you, another component is sky glow. That's when you look up and the sky's not a natural color. It's reflection of all this light hitting up in the clouds, etc. Then we have light trespass. Have you thought about light trespassing on your property? Light trespass. That is a big issue. That is the issue that we at Dark Sky Texas get more complaints about, that we get more people writing to us saying, help me, help me, help me. What to do about this? How do I stop this? Then there's light clutter. So, we've all seen that. Let's look at some examples. How does that light make you feel? That's like a normal, pretty blinding, yeah, it's a little glare, it's a little glary actually, but that is just a regular spotlight or floodlight that so many contractors, and I'm not picking on them, but they, or people have put on their houses. They're all over, not only residences, but businesses. Just throw up a spotlight, light the whole area. What would happen if we shielded that light? So let's shield it with our hand and see what happens.
Where'd that guy
Somebody was there. Go back. If we dimmed these lights down a little bit, you could probably tell that he was there to start with. We could not see him. So if we think we're putting up lights to be safe, then we need to make sure we follow the principles that I'll teach you so that you actually can see better, because that's what we use lights for at night. We put them up so that we can see better. So let's do them in a way that actually allows us to see better. Love that, don't you? Wow, he was just gone. You couldn't see him. If you have glare in your eyes, the way the human eye works is that it adjusts to the brightest thing around, and it makes other parts look dark. So that's why you get all these shadows and people disappear. Let's continue on with glare, since I can pick on it a little bit. This is a street actually here in the Hill Country area. Wow, driving down that street is tough. When the lights were put up, they thought, oh, we're going to light the street, people can see. They sometimes forget that we all have to have headlights, but that's another problem. So we have all these lights where we can see the source of the light. If we see the source of the light, it's causing glare in the back of our eye. So you look at a street like that and you want to drive down it. If somebody, some kid ran out from the side, an animal ran out from the side, even a car pulls out from the side, you might not see it because of the glare. Now here's another street that has been illuminated differently. Look, the street itself is beautifully illuminated. You can see what's going on. But you don't see the source of the light. The lights are shielded and they're not as bright. So they're actually saving some electricity too, but we'll get to that. Here's another example. This is, big wall pack on the side of a school, rather blinding. Here is, and I'll mention, the person who lives across the street from the school sent this in as a light trespass issue. It's like, here, it's coming, blinded me. So here's a different school, and the way that they illuminated. This was, they had the lights on that night. They were getting ready to have an event. People could see. They could see where to walk. They could see other people around. They weren't blinded. And yet, there's a lot of illumination there. Right? Okay, light trespass, let's touch on that issue a second. The building on the left of the picture you're looking at is across the street from the home on the right. The home on the right has 0 outdoor lighting on. Whoa! You know, I mean, the building on the left can certainly illuminate their property, but they could do it in a way that keeps the light on their property. And if they did that, it would save them a lot of money because they'd only be paying for electricity to illuminate their property instead of the neighbor's property and driving the neighbor crazy and keeping them from sleeping at night or keeping them from enjoying their porch at night. So, light trespass, that is an issue. I want to say right here that on darkskytexas.org, under projects, we have a project called Light Trespass. And if you will take a picture of an instance of light trespass, you can send in the picture, and all we will put on the website is the picture and the county it's from, whether it's commercial, residential, or public lighting, and about how far away it is from the property that the light is trespassing on. You can also add, and we will not publish this, we keep this, aside, is, you can make some comments. There's a big comment block if you want to tell a little bit about it. We also, will capture your name and email, but we don't share that. What we are doing with this database we're collecting, and we just started this recently, and we already have over 50 instances in lots of different counties. But we need more, because what we want to do is talk to elected officials and say, look, this is a problem all over the state. All over the state. Let's talk about how to fix this so that we can see better and so that we do not put light on somebody else that doesn't want it. Let's protect the property rights of the people who don't want that light on their property. So that's why we're doing it, and we're hoping in a couple of months to be able to sit down with some elected officials and say, look at this broad range of instances of light trespass. Let's talk about how we can solve this. Let's talk about, what we can do to say, gee, have your light, but don't, if the light is brighter than a certain amount, don't have it so that light, the source of that light can be seen from another property. That type of thing.
What was the website again, Dawn?
darkskytexas.org. Like right at our whole name.
Okay, thank you.
darkskytexas.org.
Now, is Texas all the way spelled out? Yeah.
All the way spelled out. And the question there was, what was that website again? So we have it on the video. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I try to behave as a speaker and get that question on the video. Next one is an example of light clutter. We've all seen this. We don't, it's hard. It's hard to drive down a street like this and really feel like you can see that you're not being blinded. We don't need all that light. Next thing I want to touch on, which obviously is not part of the definition of light pollution, but I want to touch on the fact that with a fixture like the one on the left, kind of in the middle there, you're putting light everywhere. When you shield that light, target it where you want the light to go, then you can reduce the amount of light that you are creating, using in half. So think about what happens if you only need half the light, because you don't need that light that's been going to the side, to the neighbors, up in the sky. You only need half of that light. So if you're using the same type of light, incandescent to incandescent or LED to LED, you can reduce the wattage in half and have the same amount of light in that targeted area where you need to see as you would have had, if you put it in that fixture, that lets light go everywhere. So we can save energy. That's one of the problems with light pollution. We are wasting, all that light going everywhere, we are paying for it. We're wasting energy. And this estimates that there's over $3 billion a year worth of energy in the United States that's just lost up in the sky. $3 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot for it to be costing us. Yes?
Is most of that Las Vegas?
The question is most of that waste in Las Vegas? Las Vegas does do, on the Strip, they certainly send a lot of light up into the atmosphere. Actually, a lot of the rest of the community in Vegas has some really good lighting that controls it and sends it, where the light needs to go. So I don't want to pick on my friends who live in Las Vegas, but yeah, the Strip sends a lot of light up. That's one of the big ones. Yes, sir.
You can get a really good idea of this if you'll Google the Earth at night and look at down at the United States. You can pick out San Antonio.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
All of them.
Exactly. So the comment was, if you Google Earth at night, you get views of the Earth that are satellite images, so that you can see what, you see all that light coming up, and if you can see that, if they can see that light, if you ever fly, you can get the same thing. But if you see that light coming up, then somebody's paying for that light to come up. I know, have you ever been to McDonald Observatory? Okay, right there, right around it is pretty good. But if you look to the west, you'll see a light dome. And actually in north and south right now too, because of all the oil production. But for a long time you could see this light dome to the west of there. That's light from El Paso, 200 miles away? And so somebody's paying for that light to be able to come that far and hit your eyeballs so you can see it. Yes, sir.
It's actually from Juarez.
I
El
won't,
Paso, believe
it's
me.
from that area. There
Yeah, El Paso's small, but it's Juarez is lit up for miles and miles and miles.
we go. Okay.
It is.
Okay, yeah. So the point being that light will travel long distances if you let it, just go out to the sides and up into the air. If you let it go to the sides even, instead of having it down at an angle, it will go for hundreds of miles. And you're paying for it. Somebody's paying for it. Maybe if there's a public light, we are paying for it. It's coming out of our taxes to pay. So, I don't know about you, but I like the lights to be a little more efficient. So, why do we care about light pollution? Other than that money thing that we were talking about. That's a good reason to care. But I want you for a minute, and I know we just ate. Close your eyes. Think about a time that you have been out under a beautiful night sky. Take a deep breath. Think about how you felt. How did your body feel? Could you relax a little bit more? Was it peaceful? Hopefully so. Okay, I'll get you to open your eyes again. If your neighbor wants to sleep, wake them up. Yes. So think about, and we are told by physicians that physiologically our body knows what time it is. Our body responds to the different light at different times of day. We all need that blue light in the morning, that helps us get going, but we don't need that in the evening. That we need to be away from that blue light and be able to relax at night. Think also about, and I've got a picture of a little campfire here. Think about the times when people sat out around campfires more at night and told stories or studied the sky, you know, even without the campfire lit so they could see it better. Think about that. Think about our heritage of the night sky and the things we learned from it and how we applied it to our human condition. What can you think of within, you know, the ways that humans used to use the night sky, or how it's reflected in our culture?
Astrology.
Astronomy?
Astrology.
Astrology. There you go.
Travel.
Navigation, yes. Yeah.
Romance.
Romance, oh, that's a good one.
Big old
Right under the moon. So you might had songs to sing about it, or poetry, or literature, that, you know, so much of it touches on the night sky. Artwork, wow. Think about, and gardeners, hello, think about the cycle during the year. You've got certain times of year, and those times were learned based on, you know, what's happening in the solar system. It helps set the seasons for planting, for, you know, sowing, etc. So agriculture was very much tied originally to what was going on in the night sky. There were triggers there. Wow, so humans really connected with the night sky long ago.
It just always amazed me how the ancient civilizations could keep track. They know that, like, Jupiter goes there, or this constellation. I mean, they kept track of that stuff. They had nothing better to do all night.
Oh, I don't know about that, but they could see it better too.
Yeah.
They could see it better. So that's for us humans. Let's think about how it affects other living things. Well, we're going to talk about us first. Of course, we, you know, focus there. So we're going to look at the benefits of better lighting to human health. We know from medical research that artificial light at night increases health risk. Okay. A little music in between. Increases health risk. There we go. For a number of issues. I've got them on the slide, some of those. And one of the pieces that is worse for humans is what we call blue light. So we think, you know, I don't have blue light, right? I have white lights and yellow lights. Exactly. So a lot of people just aren't familiar with blue light. Well, the blue light is part of the visible light spectrum, and we're going to look at it now. So everybody is going to get to try on, and then we'll pass it back up, but we'll put on a pair of what's called diffraction grating glasses. Susan, I'll give you a pack to hand that over here.
Oh, just so you know my nickname.
If I can get these rubber bands off. Woo. Some of them are tough. Yes, that'll be one pass back there. There's some coming this way. Let's see, go. Yes, there's some coming this way. Did you? Yeah. Okay. Keep going. Okay. Couple more there. Everybody should have a pair to put on.
They're like,
Yeah.
You need a pair. Everybody got a pair?
just like water.
I still have a pair of This is the fun part. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now, I don't know who documents events for your club, but you might want to come up from my perspective and take a picture. It's a good time. Absolutely, I'll do that too.
So what do you want us to do?
Okay, first of all, yeah, put them on and look up at the lights in the ceiling here.
All the pretty rainbows.
All the pretty rainbows. Exactly. Exactly.
Program.
Can everybody see? All right,
Hey, y'all look funny.
you're seeing the full spectrum of light, that full spectrum that we just showed in this slide. All right, so the blue part is what we're talking about when we say blue light. It's that blue light that is very efficient at stopping humans and almost every living thing on this planet from producing melatonin. And melatonin helps us rebuild our immune system every night. It's a precursor to serotonin, which is a chemical we need in our brain to be healthy. So that's part of why there are so many health issues. If you have melatonin in your blood during natural darkness at the level you should, it will stop most cancer cells from growing. So,
Okay, say that again.
if you have melatonin in your blood at night at the level it should be, if you've been around natural darkness rather than lights with blue in them, then that melatonin will stop the growth of most cancer
It's
cells.
amazing.
Not every single kind, but most of them it will. That's why it's tied to all those diseases. You know, cancer's one of them. Okay, so I don't know if we can turn the lights down here. Okay. Turn them off because we'll still have some light, from the screens. All right, here is a bulb. Look at it through your diffraction grating glasses. No blue. This is just a regular old bug light. You know? This is bug light. Yeah. Bug. B-U-G, bug light. Right. So it's not, we have, right, there's no blue in it. There's no blue. You want to be away from the blue light at night. So here's another light for you to look at.
Ready.
Yeah, it's pretty much mostly red.
Yeah.
And this is the type of light that maybe astronomers might use, that they are easier on your eyes to be able to not lose your night vision. You might see they're in a dark room for film photography, thank you.
Old school film.
Old school stuff. Or I can go down in a submarine. There you go. So the thing is, you can see with a light like this. You can see with a light like this. I have one more to show you. Let me turn these off. Say again? Oh, well, the white one's just like the ones in your
It's like
ceiling
you're
here.
getting off that screen right
Yeah, you're getting it off the screen too. Okay, I have one more that I'm going to shine around for everybody to see. This is true amber. This is true amber. And you can light things up and see really well with true amber. The city of Flagstaff will only allow any new lights outside. They must be true amber. The cities and communities along the Florida coast, you have to have true amber.
Save the turtles.
Save the turtles in Florida. In Flagstaff, it's to reduce light pollution, save their jobs at the observatory. Right. So it's something, I mean, my husband and I put up a new carport. We have true amber lights in it. We have a little, a switch in our cars, a little remote control. When we come down the driveway, we can turn that light on. We can park our car. We can get out, go in the house, and turn it off. So the light is only on exactly when we need it, and it's true amber. Now, what's happening with true amber is it's protecting not only the living things on this planet, ourselves included, but it's, you know, when you're counting those living things, don't forget the plants. Because they like the, you know, the true amber, they like to get rid of that blue light at night also.
You know, they have the lights like that in Atlanta on the interstates.
Yeah, cool. I love it. Okay, so you can pass your glasses to the end. We will pick them up. But that's your lighting there. Here's a little reminder. There we go. A little reminder. Yes, we have a question.
Is that true amber lamp? Is that supposed to be in lieu of a standard light, a flashlight? Tell me how bright.
Sure. That little light I had is what's called narrowband amber, so it's only that band of the spectrum. You can also get it where it is, older lights are filtered to only allow the amber out. But that amber, see, it doesn't have the blue wavelength. And it's that blue wavelength that is so efficient at damaging our health and the health of almost every living thing on this planet.
Is the amber that they use in McDonald's?
Why don't,
Is that,
Quiet down.
I can't hear the question.
Is that amber light the same thing that they use in a McDonald's, where they only want you to use red lights?
The question is the amber the same thing they use at the McDonald's? I haven't been to McDonald's in 40 years. I can't answer that question. Oh, McDonald's Observatory. Oh my God. I live there. How am I? It's been several years since I've been out there. I know I've recommended it. I would hope that they've got it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
Would that be something that you would use like in your garden for like a path walkway? Could you
Yes.
have something like that?
Yes.
Are there solar ones that
The
are?
question is that what you would use in your garden for a path? It is what the National Park Service uses for paths when you need a path illuminated at night. The point is to turn off the lights if people are not using that path. Because even an amber light, any artificial light can cause damage. And I've been told by Dr. Travis Longcore, who's pretty much expert in all of this, that over a period of time, over several years, if you have lights in your garden, that you will have 3 times the number of slugs. So, if you want slugs, put up lights.
Do they come in solar, do the amber lights come in solar also?
The question is, do the amber lights come in solar also? I believe I have seen them in solar, yes. And you can go on darksky.org, which is the international group that we are a chapter of, and they have specific lights. One of their projects is to have lights that have been approved, and you can look specifically for amber or turtle-friendly lighting.
how about ultraviolet? Like, well, I
What's the
have,
question?
are they good or bad? I've got them on my front and back porch, and they light up enough you can see, and if somebody's wearing like white, you're gonna see them 50 yards out.
The question is, what about ultraviolet? Ultraviolet obviously is what a lot of insects are sensitive to. So I would suspect that there's, that having them so you can see, is probably okay, but when nobody's there, I would turn them off. Because you're going to be affecting some sort of living thing with any artificial light. And the point is, humans are the only ones who want this artificial light. So, yeah, if you're having a party, you've got people there, or you're going to be walking out there, that's one thing. But otherwise, you probably want to turn them off. So let's talk about how does it affect wildlife and plants. So I have a list here of some of the things we're going to talk about. Those daily and annual cycles, leaf fall and bud burst, as well as plant growth. navigation and migration, reproduction, predation, food sources. All of those things are affected by artificial light at night. So, impact on plants, especially with this picture. You notice that part of this tree thinks that it's time to drop its leaves, and part of the tree is still hanging on because there's a street light there that is lighting up part of the tree. So our artificial lights keep trees from going through their natural cycle. If they're a deciduous tree, they need to be going through that regular cycle and dropping their leaves. That's part of keeping them healthy. So when this happens and there are lights on a plant, it sets them up to pick up diseases and doesn't let them go through their natural process. Okay, it affects daily life cycles. Here's one example, and all of these are just examples. They are not the only living things affected in this way. But I'm going to talk about birds a second. Each of the families of birds that you see on the slide, at nighttime, under natural darkness, under a natural night sky, they will go and rest. They will drop their metabolic rate, these percentages. That's how they rebuild their immune system. That's how they stay healthy. You've heard of hummingbirds going into torpor. That's what we're talking about. They drop their metabolic rate by 85% at night. You know, other birds do it too. We talk about the Lights Out Texas program to have, turn off unnecessary lights during heavy migration season. Let's remember, who has birds in their yard all year round? Yes, they're here all the time. Let's protect them. Let's have lighting that does not, affect them negatively. Let's do our lighting right all year round, and then there may be some other lights that we can turn off during migration especially. But if we can have better lighting that allows us to see but protects all the wildlife during the year, then we're better off. It also affects annual cycles. We've looked at the daily cycle, where each day, as it gets dark, we produce our melatonin, and other living things do too. Almost every living thing on this planet produces melatonin. We also have annual cycles. There are times that the trees will do certain things. Everybody, with their times, what happens, in the fall, the deer don't say, "Oh my goodness, it's October. It's time to start chasing the other one." It is hormonal, and those hormones are triggered by as little as 1 minute difference from one day to the next in the number of hours of daylight and the number of hours of darkness. Triggers hormones. It does that, it tells the salmon when to spawn. The difference in daylight and darkness affects almost every living thing on this planet. It impacts leaf fall. We talked about that somewhat. It changes bud burst. If you're familiar with that term, that's when, the plants their buds start opening up. They get those buds out on the trees. It happens earlier and earlier, and they've averaged 7.5 days earlier in a 13-year study when there's light pollution around. Okay, so what happens when the buds are supposed to burst? Maybe it's a flowering plant or tree, and you're supposed to have the pollinators there to pollinate it, but the buds burst too early. Right. So it causes all sorts of issues. It affects plant growth. This picture is actually of a soybean field. Do you see that pattern with the green?
Yep. And where the lights are.
Exactly, that's the pattern of the lights from those lights along the highway. That's where the lights are on that field. So the soybeans never mature. The farmer never gets to take in that crop because they'll never mature because the plants think it's middle of summer all the time with all those lights on it. So it affects plant growth. It affects the blooming cycles. There are lots of plants that bloom at night. We've got something called photoperiodism that's talking about, the photo being the light and the period. When you're going to have the light, certain amount of light on the plants, it triggers them to bloom. It triggers them to do certain things. Question?
How does people in Alaska during the winter with 23 and a half hours of darkness survive?
Not very well.
The question is, how do people in Alaska survive with all the darkness? And I know that there are people there who, get light therapy and things of that nature, but it's I guess humans in that area have adapted a little bit differently. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so better lighting, good. Better lighting helps birds navigate and migrate safely. Just think about that. We can, for them to navigate, for them just to be here all year long, it's better not just for the birds, but for almost every living thing. So these are just examples. Our lights at night can disorient the sea turtles. We talked about the sea turtles. The little picture at the top, do you see those little tracks running in circles? Those are baby sea turtle tracks where they're trying to figure out where to go, what direction to go in to get to the sea, because they're supposed to be going to the sea as quickly as they can to get away from predators and to start on their journey. But they are set up so that they go to the brightest thing around. Should be, the moon and the stars glistening on the waves. But then they go, whoa, there's a light behind there. There's a light there. And they get confused. They get confused. So that's just one example with navigation. You may have read about the building. I think it was near in Galveston area, where one night the clouds were a little low, and they had lights on in this building. 300 birds crashed into it and dropped and died. Hundreds of thousands of birds die every year from hitting windows with lights on behind it instead of the shades pulled down. And you think, oh, it's those big towers, right? It's downtown people, it's not me. Actually, 1- and 2-story buildings account for more bird deaths than all the big multi-story buildings.
Wow.
So we all need to be careful with our windows and whether lights are shining out, especially during migration season. One of the things we do with Dark Sky Texas is to teach people and give them a list of ways to make not only their lights better, but to make their windows bird friendly. Again, if you go to our website under blog post, we have a blog post that talks all about windows, how to do windows so that the birds don't crash into them. We partner with Audubon. We have a whole list of things that Audubon recommends and some pictures of some of those, but we've got that link in our blog post. Okay, it also disrupts communication and reproduction. Think about fireflies. Did you know that in North America alone, there are over 160 different species of fireflies? Each species has a different blink, and that's how they find each other, as I tell the kids, to make a family. Yeah, to make a family. They've got to find each other. And if there are lights on, they can't see, you know, the other fireflies blinking, so they don't find each other, they don't reproduce, and we've got a spiraling down number of fireflies. Think about that. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons of the demise of fireflies in this country. Another thing it does is alters that predator-prey dynamic. Think about that. You know, the prey usually can kind of hide when it's a full moon because they can be seen too well. But if there's light out there all the time, like the full moon, when can they hide and get away from the predators? So it makes it tough. They've got to sneak out, and the predators will get them. There's a huge impact on insects. Hundreds of millions of insects die because they just stay at lights. You know, you turn that porch light on, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to protect myself. No, you're killing insects. You're also you put lots of lights on the outside of the house, you're telling burglars there's good stuff here and I want to protect it. I mean, they don't even have to bring their flashlights, right? So, you know, have the lights on when you know a person's there that's going to use it. All right, so we're killing insects. And we think, well, some insects maybe they're not our favorites, but something in the food web needs it. Something we like needs it, so let's keep it there. Some of the food we grow needs some of those. No, you don't care. Okay.
Oh, the bats, man, they gotta feed the bats.
You gotta feed the bats. Well, there's some species of bats that will not go in those lights. So if their food source is stuck under a light, they won't go, some of the species won't go in there, and they're dying because of it. Yeah, they don't like the lights. It also makes leaves tough. Huh? That's when I read that study, I was like, seriously? Yeah, it makes them tough, and then the insects don't want to eat it, so you don't have native bugs on the trees, and then the birds don't have anything to eat, and on and on and on. Makes the leaves tough. Wow. So we get to the bottom line here. What if we woke up one morning only to realize that all the conservation planning of the last 30 plus years told only half the story? If we're only studying what's going on in the daytime, let's see what's happening at night. That's half the story. That's half of the experience that our living things have. We got to think about that. So we think, oh my, this is, you know, a calamity, right? There are solutions. There are all sorts of things that we can do. Yeah, so solutions and recommendations. Dark Sky International and Illuminating Engineering Society, which is the big national organization of lighting designers, in case you're not familiar with that group. They got together and they have given us these 5 principles of responsible outdoor lighting. And when we'll walk through them individually. The first one is to ask, is that light useful? I think about this picture. You see the light on top, this disappears on the TV screen. Above the porch, it's shining on the roof. It's lighting up the roof beautifully. Is that a light we need?
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would get rid of that one. Save a lot of electricity right there. Get rid of that. And even the light that's shining on that sign, I would lower the amount of light so that you can actually read it. So ask about every light. And these things are in the order that you should check, because you don't want to bother shielding a light or doing anything else that we talk about unless you've already said, wait a minute, what's the purpose of this light? If it doesn't have a purpose, get rid of it and you're done. Next, the second principle is to target the light where it's needed. We had that picture of the light before that had a shield on it. It was targeting. Target the walkway, the driveway, the path, you know, your front porch. the places that you need the light to see, put the light there instead of shining it in the next county. Just put it there. Third principle is to have it, well, this one we're going to continue with targeted. This is a sample. All the lights on the left are ones you discourage. The ones on the right, the thing I want you to notice is that every one of them, the source of the light is hidden. That's the key. This is not rocket science. Hide the source of the light. Do you know anybody who, I don't know if I can touch this, okay, pretend this is a light bulb. And I've got this light sitting on the table by my sofa. Who is going to put a shade over it? Me.
Yeah,
Everybody. You don't walk in the house and have this light bulb uncovered shining on you. So why do we do it outdoors? Why do we do it outdoors? You don't want to see the source of the light. And that's what this graph tells you. It says tuck those lights under. Have it, the source of the light, hidden so that you just have the illumination. You use that light instead of...
It's like we've gone back, regressed, because like we had like a torch or a candle or a lantern, they always had something back here.
So it didn't blind you.
So then you can see where you're
They
walking.
did. Could y'all hear the comment on the tape? He said it's like we've gone backwards because all the time if you had a torch, they'd usually have some sort of, something to keep you from having that light directly in your eyes and blinding you.
So you can see where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. So, third principle, no brighter than necessary. Just, use the least amount of light that gets the job done. Fourth principle, only have it turned on when somebody is there to use it. It will not keep burglars away. Like I said, it lets them skip bringing their own flashlight. So, turn it off. They've done, the only study that ever showed that lights could help protect you from crime was one study that was done by the lighting manufacturers. They want to sell you so-called security lights. Think of them as insecurity lights because it is not helping if you have a light that is blinding you. So keep that in mind. Use light only when you need it. And the fifth principle is to use those warm lights. You don't need all that bright white light that's white because it has lots of light in the blue wavelength, which damages your health. So we use warmer lights. That not only allows us to see well, but it also helps all the other living things around us. So you can make a difference. You can go home and rethink your lighting. You can talk to your friend who has the business with big lights. You can talk to neighbors gently, etc. You can do it. And so I'm going to challenge you to think about modifying any of your lights that don't match these 5 principles. Before I go, I want to touch on a couple of our programs. Let's see, do I have a Be a Star sign in here? We have a program called the Be a Star Award. If you follow those 5 principles on your property, you can get a big metal sign. Everybody wants a metal sign that says no. Everybody wants a metal sign that says huh? I can't hear you. No. Okay. Another program we've got, the next one over there, is about sky quality meters, where we have people all over the state who have their own meters, and they send us the readings. They enter them, either enter them with their handheld meters. They enter them into our database. They sign up with us and get the passcode so they can do that. Or we help them with the specifics of setting up a reader that keeps data every night, and then you plug it in the computer and send that little file to us. So we have on our website, again, a sky quality meter dashboard, so you can look at what the readings are around the state. We, of course, support and have worked hundreds of hours to make Texas dark sky places so that they are recognized by the international community, Dark Sky International. We have, I think, 24 in the state of Texas at this point, which is huge. You can, again, look at them on the website. We have all sorts of advocate resources, and we are getting ready to run an event in Fredericksburg on the, it'll be mostly the 7th and 8th of March that y'all could come to. We can send you a registration form if you want to be more of an advocate for dark sky, learn some more details, that as well as all our advocate resources online. But this is an annual event where we're having people from statewide to come together and learn some more things about being an advocate. We have a new initiative called the BOLD Initiative, Better Outdoor Lighting Decisions, that we are working to get raise funds for so that we can actually roll that out. It's put together, it's a beautiful, excellent program where we can reach out to businesses and big nonprofits, et cetera, to integrate dark sky education into what they do. I've got to tell you about our newest thing. We have what's called an all-sky camera, and we're starting to take photographs in different places in the state, and we'll be able to show from a single point where light pollution is coming to that point from, 100 miles away, depending on, if we can get up on a hill to see that horizon. So when we do things together, man, we can get a lot done. We would encourage you to join Dark Sky Texas. When you go on our website, there's a join. You can either get on our mailing list that way, sign yourself up. You can, we have a link where you join Dark Sky International. When you do that with a Texas address, you become a member of Dark Sky Texas. We also have a new partnership program where, basically we say we're both conservation groups, we both care, and we'll put your logo and information on our website, and we ask that you put at least our logo and say we're partners on yours. And we'll do things like, I don't know, my social media people would tell me what, like each other on, which helps the views. I don't know. I'm not a social media person, but I try. I work on that. Okay. Any more questions before we wrap up? Yes.
Hey, so I saw I looked at your website and you give like cities this award. I think you call it night sky places. Like, for example, Liberty Hill just won in July 25.
Yes.
Well, so what did Liberty Hill do to win that award?
There's a huge document with the criteria. But bottom line, a community to earn that award, it's the same award that Dripping Springs was the first one in Texas to win. I'll give you a very high level. You've got to have buy-in from the community. You've got to have, so you get letters of support. You have to have an ordinance that will actually control any new lights that are going up and say, okay, any new lights have to follow these principles, basically. And many of the communities have what's called a sunset clause, because lights do not last forever out in the Texas heat. I hate to tell you. Yeah, don't want to shock anybody. But for instance, the city of Dripping Springs had a 10-year sunset clause that said after 10 years, everybody has to have their lights in compliance. And what they're saying is that, you're going to be changing your lights in 10 years anyway. Put up ones that comply with this as you're going. So you have to have the ordinance, you have to have an education program about light pollution and how to reduce it in your community. So you do certain programs, you do certain educational things to keep the community educated about how to do better lighting. It's that type of thing.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. It's harder, I think, for a community to get the award than for like a park. Because a park doesn't have to have, they have a lighting management plan and they can control every light that goes up instead of having an ordinance that they've got to manage, etc. Yes, ma'am?
So, with data centers popping up all over Texas, is there anything that is being done to tamp down the light pollution that they are producing? Or are they following any regulations or anything like that?
At this point, the state of Texas does not allow unincorporated areas to regulate outdoor lighting. That's why we want to sit down with the legislators with this database about light trespass and say, let's fix this. There is a court case that was determined by the Texas Supreme Court that's determined that excessive lighting going on somebody else's property, light trespass, is a nuisance. But for the average person to take advantage of that case law, you have to spend $200,000 to $300,000 and bring a lawsuit. What we are suggesting, and like I said, we're willing to sit down and negotiate. What we are suggesting is that instead of having just the case law that says it's a nuisance, we just add it into the regular law, and my husband will tell me what we call that kind of law. The regular, the regular part of the law, just like noise is a nuisance, or other things. It's a whole list of things that are nuisances. So if we add that and say at a light at a certain level, where you can see the source of the light on another property, blah, blah, blah. Where it's trespassing is a nuisance, then any law enforcement person in the state can make sure that law is passed, is followed. But also, to me, it gives you leverage, a little bit better leverage with your neighbor. If you have a light that's trespassing onto your property, then you can talk to the neighbor and say, did you know that is really defined as a nuisance? And people, sometimes that is enough to get them to say, oh, I didn't realize that, and and shield it or change it so that it's not doing it. Okay. Any other questions?
And we have a little fun bag for you.
Oh, that's so sweet.